Hello, world and universe. Welcome to the Trevor Donald Experience. Manifest your truth. And if you're new to the channel, please hit that like and subscribe button. And for all my continued followers, I want to say thank you. And this is an opinion-based video channel where I try to open your eyes and ears up to some of the travails and tribulations that take place throughout our cities, our states, our country, and sometimes around the world. And this one is a huge one. I do many stories that have personal effects with individuals, whether it's true crime stories, whether it's cities that are in default like Chicago. But this particular story has an effect on our entire country. And it's very rare that you can have a storyline that can affect and swipe all the way from the East Coast, West Coast, down south, and up north. And what is it? Oh man, this is the one about 45,000 dock workers that have gone on strike. This thing is going to be bigger than the UAW strike with auto workers and the Hollywood writers strike put together that took place well over a year ago. And what does this have to do with? And please like and share this with my YouTube and TikTok followers. This is a story during this presidential campaign that will affect everyone. This has to do with the working class, the working middle class, the American dream or American nightmare, technological automation replacing humans in repetitive manufacturing and distribution jobs, humanoid robots replacing humans, etc. Artificial intelligence, technology is superseding our human ability to do repetitive work. And you're going to see a lot of machines and robots replacing individuals. Because guess what? Robots can work 24 hours a day. They don't go on strike. There are no HR issues, etc. And big companies are looking at that. They don't have to worry about retirement and pension plans. This is going to hurt the Harris campaign big time in this presidential election, along with the illegal migrant issue and the opioid crisis. So let's get into it. And please like and share this. This is very informational to open your eyes, to enlighten you. And this is taking place right now. 45,000 dock workers at ports from Maine to Texas go on strike. A standoff risking new shortages. Dock workers at ports from Maine to Texas began walking picket lines early Tuesday in a strike over wages and automation that could reignite inflation and cause shortages of goods if it goes on more than a few weeks. This will affect everyone. Listen to these key words: automation, inflation. The contract between the ports, and listen to this, about 45,000 members. And here again, informational. Look some of these terms up. 45,000 members of the International Longshoremen's Association, the ILA, International Longshoremen's Association, expired at midnight. And even though progress was reported in talks on Monday, the workers went on strike. The strike is affecting 36 ports This strike is affecting 36 ports, and it is the first by the union since 1977. That's almost 50 years ago. Workers began picketing at the Port of Philadelphia shortly after midnight, walking in a circle at a rail crossing outside the port and chanting, "No work without a fair contract." The union had message boards on the side of a truck reading, "Automation hurts families." ILA stands for Job Protection. Remember, ILA, International Longshoremen's Association. Local ILA President Boise Butler said workers want a fair contract that does not allow automation of their jobs. We're talking about technology replacing humans. Shipping companies made billions during the pandemic by charging high prices, he said. Now we want them to pay it back. They're going to pay it back, Butler said. He said the union will strike as long as it needs to get a fair deal and it has leverage over the companies. This is a good one. This is not something you start and stop, he said. We're not weak, he added, pointing to the union's importance to the nation's economy. It's all about working middle class, the heartbeat of America. At Port Houston, at least 50 workers started picketing around midnight, local time, carrying signs saying, "No work without a fair contract." The U.S. Maritime Alliance, which represents the ports, said Monday evening that both sides had moved off of their previous wage offers, but no deal was reached. The union's opening offer in the talks, now listen to this, was for a 77% pay raise over the next 6-year life of the contract, with President Harold Daggett saying it's necessary to make up for inflation and the years of small raises. ILA, remember, International Longshoremen's Association members make a base salary of about $81,000 a year, but some can pull in over $200,000 annually with large amounts of overtime, meaning working themselves to death. But Monday evening, the Alliance said it had increased its offer to 50% raises over 6 years, not 77%. They came back with a 50% offer. And it pledged to keep limits on automation in place from the old contract. The union wants a complete ban on automation. The union wants a complete ban. It wasn't clear just how far apart both sides are. We are hopeful that this could allow us to fully resume collective bargaining around the outstanding issues in an effort to reach an agreement, the Alliance statement said. In a statement early Tuesday, the union said it rejected the Alliance's latest proposal because it fell far short of what ILA rank and file members are demanding in wages and protections against automation. The two sides had not held formal negotiations since June. He says, "We are prepared to fight as long as necessary, to stay out on strike for whatever period of time it takes to get the wages and protections against automation our ILA members deserve," Daggett said in a statement. "They must now meet our demands for this strike to end." The Alliance said its offer tripled employer contributions to retirement plans and strengthened their health care options. Supply chain experts say consumers won't see an immediate impact from the strike because most retailers stocked up on goods moving ahead of shipments of holiday gift items. But if it goes on for more than a few weeks, a work stoppage would significantly snarl the nation's supply chain, potentially leading to higher prices for the middle class and low middle class, and delays in goods reaching households and businesses. If drawn out, listen to this, the strike will force businesses to pay shippers for delays and cause some goods to arrive late for peak holidays shopping seasons, potentially impacting delivery of anything from toys or artificial Christmas trees to cars, coffee, and fruit. He goes on to say that the strike will likely have an almost immediate impact on supplies of perishable imports like bananas. For example, the ports affected by the strike handled 3.8 million metric tons of bananas each year, or 75% of the nation's supply, according to the American Farm Bureau Federation. It also could snarl exports from East Coast ports and create a traffic jam at ports on the West Coast, where workers are represented by a different union. Railroads say they can ramp up to carry more freight from the West Coast, but analysts say they cannot move enough to make up for the closed eastern ports. If the strike goes ahead, this will cause enormous delays across the supply chain, a ripple effect which will no doubt roll into 2025 and cause chaos and disruption across the industry, noted Jay Dokia, founder of supply chain management and logistics firm Pro 3PL. JP Morgan estimated that a strike that shuts down East and Gulf Coast ports could cost the economy, listen to this, $3.8 billion or $4 million per day, with some of that recovered overtime after normal operations resume. So this strike will cost $4 million a day. The strike comes just weeks before the presidential election and could become a factor if there are shortages. Retailers, auto parts suppliers, and produce importers had hoped for a settlement or that President Joe Biden would intervene and end the strike using the Taft-Hartley Act, which allows him to seek an 80-day cooling off injunction period. Look that up, the Taft-Hartley Act. As I say, raise your level of consciousness on how your politicians are legislating either on your behalf or against your behalf. Biden is staying away from this. Remember, he's leaving. So he could intervene and have an 80-day reprieve from our supply chain being stopped. But he's not going to do that. He could enact the Taft-Hartley Act, and he said he won't do it. That's going to hurt Kamala Harris's presidential campaign. But during an exchange with reporters on Sunday, Biden, who has worked to court union votes for Democrats, said no when asked if he planned to intervene in the potential work shortage. He said no. A White House official said Monday that at Biden's direction, the administration has been in regular communication with the ILA and the alliance to keep the negotiations moving forward. The president directed Chief of Staff Jeff Zients and National Economic Council Director Laura Bernard to convene the alliance's board members Monday afternoon and urged them to resolve the dispute fairly and quickly in a way that accounts for the success of shipping companies in recent years and contributions of union workers. So he wants to get the alliance and the ILA to get together and come to an agreement, kind of a stand back, hands off approach, because he could enact the Taft-Hartley Act and give an 80-day to 90-day reprieve and keep the supply chain moving. So this is going to affect all these companies, which will trickle down to the consumer. So it will affect Home Depot, Lowe's, Walmart, Target, and of course, the behemoth that sends goods to people's homes each and every day by a push of a button, Amazon. It's going to affect perishable items like bananas, fruits, even the automotive industry. As you know, when bananas are delivered and boxed and shipped out, they're green. They have a short perishable time to become yellow and to be sweet and good for you to eat. That's going to be a real disruption and an issue. They said and remember, the Biden administration said will not get involved, and they could by enacting the Taft-Hartley Act. Please look that up. This will tremendously hurt the Kamala Harris presidential campaign. Because now you have, what do we have? We have a huge opioid crisis that's taking place and decimating folks. I'm going to eventually do a story on that. We have an illegal migrant crisis where there are supposedly 12 to 20 million illegal immigrants that have not been vetted and have entered our borders. And there's been an uptick in assaults, property damage, gun violence, and even murder. That's a real issue, which is going to put a heavy strain on the Democratic Kamala Harris presidential campaign. This is going to be huge, and this is, from a timing standpoint, this could not hurt Kamala Harris's campaign any worse than outside of a terrorist attack in our country. This is big. You're talking 45,000. You're talking our ports from Maine all of our eastern ports from Maine all the way to Texas. We're talking Florida. And if this thing drags out, we already have a huge issue with inflation. We pushed the button and influxed $2 to $3 trillion during the pandemic. We're financing at least 2 wars, Ukraine, Russia, the Gaza Strip war. Billions of dollars are going out of the country. We have a huge homeless issue. We have a huge opioid crisis, gun violence, mental health, untreated mental health issues where people are lashing out and harming and hurting other individuals. Our public safety has been at risk for a long time. We are in need of many police officers throughout our major cities. In Chicago, we're down 1,000 police officers. New York is down 1,500. St. Louis, Missouri is down 400 police officers. There are not enough correctional officers in our jails and prisons, which becomes a safety issue, not only in our city and county jails, but even in our prison systems. There's a safety issue for not only the prisoners, but for the workers. So there is a toppling that's taking place and an underbelly of enormous chaos and disruption that is going on within our own country during this presidential election. So folks, please wake up, stay conscious and aware, and pay close attention. I don't care if you're a lawyer, doctor, own your own company. This issue with these dock workers, 45,000 going on strike, costing us $4.5 million a day, is going to have a trickle-down effect. And guess who that heavy burden will affect the most? If inflation continues to go up, it is going to affect our working middle class individuals. It's affecting them directly because the 45,000 dock workers are what? They are moral fabric, our base, our nucleus of our middle class, which help build all of our suburbs throughout our country. If they're suffering, not only will our cities continue to suffer and be distressed, but you're going to see that work its way out to suburbia, and then you will have a real uproar. Mental illness, the opioid crisis, gun violence, murder is not based or separated by a zip code, race, creed, or color. This will affect us all. Please share and like this video and raise your level of consciousness, pay attention, and our unions are what have built and made America's middle class sustainable. Tell me what you think. This has been the Trevor Donald Experience. Manifest your truth.